Now we're going to show you how to color the fancy horse using E41, E42, E43, E44, E47, and E49. Circling in our base coat on the horse's neck, keeping our leading edge wet, which means we're going back and circling over where we've been. This prevents you from getting uneven color and streaks, and also helps your colors blend better when you keep them wet. Okay, and after we have a nice even coverage with the E41, we're going to come in with the second color, which is the E42, and we're going to flick that from where we want our shadowed areas. This drawing has some indications of shadow for you to help you decide that. And you'll come back in with your lighter E41 and flick that down into the base color. You're not going to see a whole lot of difference here in these first couple shades. As you're flicking that in, and then you're going to come in with your third color, your E43, and again you're flicking this in where you want even more shadow. Don't be afraid to turn your paper as you need to make the flicking more comfortable for you. I'm keeping it in one position so it's easier for you to see. Okay, and again you flick that back into the base with the E41. You'll repeat that process here on the cheek. You can go up and over the eye here also. And now the E42, and again you're flicking where you want the shadows, flicking away from the darkest point, because where you first put that point down on the paper is going to be your biggest concentration of color. Now we're going to take the E43 and we're going to flick in our darkest shade in areas where we want the biggest shadow, and we're going to blend that back into the base again with the E41. Up underneath the forelock here, you'll have a nice dark shadow. Anywhere you want that darkest shadow, we're going to use our E43. And blend it back down into the base with the E41. And now when you're ready to move on to the mane, we're going to take our lightest brown shade here, the E44, and we're going to follow the growth of that hair. It's very curly. Just kind of mimic that pattern with your marker. You're going to take up your second color, your E47, and again the same thing. You're mimicking that growth. Hair has a lot of colors in it, a lot of shades in it, and this helps you get all those colors in there without over blending. And then we're going to come in with the darkest shade, which is the E49. Same process again, you concentrate it a little bit up here where the main part of that forelock is coming out from behind the ear. Back here behind the ear again. And then we're going to take that E49 and we're also going to bring that into the eye here. And a little bit of the E44. And then we've got one more ear to color here. I missed the other ear. Again, E41. E42 where you want the shadows. And then E4. Okay, so when we're coloring something, we're starting with our lightest shade, we're circling that in, then we're coming in with our mid-tone and flicking that color in where we want shadow. We blend that center tone back into the base color by flicking over it again with that lightest color. You repeat that process with your darkest shade so that you have shadows in here, and then you flick them down in with the lightest color again, and that way you have a seamless blend. Now when it comes to the mane, we're wanting our lines to be more defined. We're not wanting to over blend our colors together, so we're following the pattern of the mane, just sort of randomly placing the color and going over with the next shade randomly again, so that we're not overlapping every color and blending it too much. Hair has a lot of color in it, and so we want to keep some of that color defined. And now with the eye, we're going to come in with our lightest shade again toward the shine that we have in the eye and blend it in with the darkest tone into the corners and where we want the shadows to be. And we have shadows on this image already to help you decide where you want your shading. Underneath the forelock, of course, around the cheek, under the neck, anywhere that you'd have a shadow cast, inside the nostril, under the mane, inside the ears. We have some sketch marks in here to help you decide where you need to color those shadows. And this is how we color the fancy buckskin horse.